So today we will give you an overview of our project KR4HR, Human Resource and Workplace Innovations in SMEs. And I would like to give you a short introduction in the next 15 minutes. And then we go into the deeper topics, and we have very interesting speakers today. So I'm eager to start. Workplace innovations is a very big topic in Europe for the European Commission, actually worldwide. And what is workplace innovation? These are means that should improve the performance and working lives and encourage the creativity of employees through positive organizational changes, mainly. And at our first meeting in Gdansk in November 2018, the project partners did a little brainstorm of how we can improve the workplace innovations and human resources in SMEs. How can we make the lives of people working in SMEs better so that employees are happy and they like to work in the companies, because there's a lack of skilled workforce and there's a big competition between the major industries and the smaller companies. So we have to do something to make the work lives more attractive to the staff. And we had different ideas, and I looked at the brainstorm results from that time. And somebody also mentioned we should work on more home office or flexible working hours. And it was interesting to see that in 2018. So if you look at the past 2 years, you can see that the home office numbers increased on all countries in Europe, actually in all countries in the whole world. So I'm not sure if it's a direct result of this project or the Corona pandemic, but probably it's the latter one. But there are many different ways how to improve the workplace innovations. And we will give you some possible solutions for this in the next 4 hours. So who are we? I represent 2 organizations. One is the Hanse-Parlament. It's a network of 52 SME institutions, chambers of crafts, commerce around the Baltic Sea region. And the other network is the Baltic Sea Academy, which is a network of 22 universities that promote education and qualification and innovation in small and medium-sized enterprises in the Baltic Sea region. And those 2 networks strongly cooperate together for the benefit of the medium-sized economy in the region. And this is what the network looks like. The yellow dots are the universities. The purple dots are the chambers of commerce and craft. So in every country around the Baltic Sea region. And we really try to connect the company, the business side, together with the academic side, with the universities. So it's not always easy because the SMEs often have a problem to talk to universities directly and are not so often directly engaged in projects. So we were very happy that in this project we have small and medium-sized companies that work together with SMEs, actually together with the universities. Very productive. And this is what the partnership structure looks like. The leading partner is this network of universities in the Baltic Sea region, the Baltic Sea Academy, represented by me. And then we have the company called Arbeit in Zukunft. And the director, Alexander Frevel, will give the presentation after this one. We have the Satakunta University of Applied Science from Finland. We have the Baltic Institute of Finland. We have the company Tasovil Group, OI. We have the University of Latvia, and in particular the Department for European and Transitional Studies. We have the Latvian Chamber of Commerce and Industry. We have the company which designs Latvia. From Poland, we have the Pomeranian Chamber of Handicrafts for SMEs, located in Gdansk. We have the Gdansk Tech University, and we have the company Hydromechanik RSP from Poland. So the blue ones are the companies, the yellow ones are the business associations and intermediaries, and the green ones are the universities. So we have all 3 stakeholders in this project. And additionally, we have the members of the Hanse-Parlament and the Baltic Sea Academy as transfer partners. So we have 72 additional partners that will get the results and also chipped in with some insights and experiences to help make this project a success. The target group that we did address are owners and employees of SMEs with the highest priority, then students as future entrepreneurs or managers in companies, lecturers in education, further education and higher education, the business organizations like the chambers, because they are the ones that support the SMEs in the region, and the universities that qualify entrepreneurs and carry out the research and development work. The project was planned for 36 months, but has been a little bit prolonged due to the corona pandemic. So the whole duration is from the 1st November 2018 until 31st January 2022, so at the end of this month. And like I said, a lot of things happened when it comes to workplace innovation and how we work together in the last 2 years, mainly because of the corona pandemic. It has been very interesting times for this project in particular. Why do we need this project? So for SMEs to remain competitive in the long term, it's necessary to increase their innovation capacities. We cannot compete with low labor cost countries, but we have to compete with high quality products, high quality services. And that's why we need to be innovative. And the strongest potential for innovation lies in the heads of the employees. So we need dedicated, motivated employees. And we really need to tackle the full potential of the human capital in the companies. And this asks for a very high and intensive cooperation between the companies and the universities. And especially when it comes to the demand of innovative entrepreneurs for businesses and startups. What did we achieve in the last 3 years? Just a brief overview. We'll get a little bit into detail in a few minutes, but the overall general results are the development of this knowledge alliance and center of competence called Human Resources for SMEs, which has been formed together by vocation training institutions, economic chambers, and universities. We created and implemented a train-the-trainer program. We identified and developed best practices and created a tool called Workplace Innovations from this. We created, tested, and evaluated 3 different further vocational training courses. We developed, tested, evaluated, and implemented a dual bachelor study course. And overall had a very intensive promotion of human resources in SMEs. So one of the main results is this running operation and creation of the full-time center of competence that will keep on existing after the project ends and has been established as part of this project, and will also in the future focus on human resources in the SMEs, especially in the Baltic Sea region. We did an analysis and adaptation to national conditions of implementation of best practices for workplace innovations. We realized this train-the-trainer program, the curricula and teaching materials for continuing education seminars in 3 different sectors. The first one is employees and co-entrepreneurs. The second one is digitalization and human capital. And the third one was innovation processes. A dual bachelor program has been created titled Human Resources and Business Administrations. We realized very tangible solutions for research and development tasks for SMEs and transferred all the results to the stakeholders in the Baltic Sea region. The project has been set up in 7 work packages, and the first one is, of course, the project management. And the second one is the creation of this knowledge alliance center of competence, that is the roof of this whole building. The third one was the identification and creation of management tools and new practices. And then we concentrated on the educational level. On EQF level 4 and 5, we realized these further training courses. On EQF level 5, the higher education, EQF level 6, the work package 5, we did the R&D work and the dual bachelor study course. And work package 6 was the ongoing monitoring and quality assurance of this project. And work package 7 was the transfer and dissemination of the results. So the work package 1, the project management, I will keep this brief as, of course, the creation of the website, the information of partners, information of transfer partners and stakeholders, so newsletters, the creation of an activity plan, the interim reporting, the final reporting, the whole communication with the European Commission that supported this project, the coordination of the evaluation and realization of the project workshops, and many more online meetings than we planned. Actually, this conference was supposed to take place in Hamburg, but since the numbers of corona cases are skyrocketing at the moment, this is not possible. But I'm very happy to see so many of you participating in this online conference. Work package 2 is the first content of work package was the development of information, communication, and cooperation instruments, the design of a concept, how a knowledge alliance in the Baltic Sea region could look like, information and cooperation platform on the project website, curricula and teaching materials for the Train the Trainer program that was later also evaluated and adapted, a business plan to secure the long-term operation of this knowledge alliance, development and coordination of organizational and working forms for the Center of Competence, and the transformation of the alliance into the full foundation center called Human Resources for SMEs. Work package 3 was first the analysis of economic structures and qualifications in the labor market in the Baltic Sea region, analysis and identification of SME conditions and the qualification needs. And to this topic, we will hear the next presentation by Alexander Frebel from Arbeit in Zukunft in Hamburg on qualification needs and human resource promotion for SMEs in about 7 minutes. Creating SME prototypes for workplace innovations. So what could be the tangible solutions for workplace innovations? Analyze and implementation of best practice workplace innovations, and the development of new methods and tools for workplace innovation. And regarding these best practices, I'm very happy that Dr. Marcina Gresiak from the Gdansk Tech will give us some insight on good practices of workplace innovations in about 30 minutes. The further training courses that we created used the KAI method. The KAI method stands for knowledge according to individual needs. So it's mainly structured into 3 different parts. The first part is always a theoretical part where we impart the knowledge and create a common understanding for all trainees. In the second part, this is training on the spot. This is where the actually trainees test the methods they learned, and in this, so this is not in the schoolroom but in a company. And in the third part, again, the whole group comes together to do a reflection and deepening and clarifying of any questions and share the knowledge that they gained in this practical part B. So the most important part is, of course, the individual studies, the part B. And these further training courses correspond to EQF level 4 and 5. We did always develop them, test them, evaluated how the testing went, and then adapted the curriculum. So the first was employees on the way to co-entrepreneurs. The second one was digitalization and human capital. And the third one was innovation process. And we'll get a field report from this from our colleague from the Latvian Chamber of Commerce and Industry, from Juris Dubatovka, after the first discussion round. It's now about 1 hour. We created examination regulations for these training courses and did the implementation of workplace innovation projects with the participating SMEs during the training period. On the work page 5, we did the dual bachelor study courses on management 4.0, so human resources in SMEs, that is based on an existing dual study program called Business Administration for SMEs. And yes, we created the whole concept, the curricula, the module, and for do a study course, and we'll get some insights on this from our Latvian partners, from the Latvian universities, Denise Ponomareва and Roman Sputans. I'm very happy that they joined, and they will give some insight on this at about 10:30 on new dual bachelor program, Human Resources and Businesses. Of course, we did also test this program and did the evaluation on this. And Dr. Sirpa Sandolin from the Satakunta University of Applied Science from Finland will share the presentation on SME-specific research and development tasks for workplace innovations that have been created during this project and this field of exchange of technology and experience. And then I'm very happy that Yanis Balodis from the Vidas Designs company in Riga will give a field report on experience of SMEs when it comes to the digitization in the very small companies. And then also I'm very, very happy that we have somebody from the company, Petri Käsi-Korpela from Tasovil Group Oy in Finland, that will give a field report on performing SME-specific research and development tasks in his company. Then last but not least, we'll talk about the quality assurance that was part of Work Package 6. This is just to monitor the progress in the project and to see that everything is going according to the plan. We created a quality plan for education, a quality plan for the transfer and implementation, a quality plan for cooperation. And many of you have been contacted by our external quality assurance colleague that did this evaluation and ongoing monitoring, and will write the whole report on this. Last but not least, the last work is the transfer and dissemination. We're just in the process of finalizing a book with the whole result of this project that will be published in the end of January. We did quite many videos that are shared via YouTube. And we'll also have the possibility today to listen to 3 videos during the presentations. And all the results of the projects are, of course, free and available on the website at your disposal. Before we go to the first content presentation, I hope I gave you a short overview. I would like to remind you, I put this link in the chat for the Padlet. So if you have any questions, you can just raise your hands after the presentations and let us know. But if you prefer to write it down, you can use this Padlet. And for the first group discussion around 9:50, we will take a look at this Padlet and see if there are any questions that are unanswered and that we should then discuss or should address to the speaker. So if you have a specific question to one speaker, please just put in question to, for example, Alexander Frebel or Maciej Kresiak. Okay, so thank you very much. I hope I pointed out how important the workplace innovations are for SMEs, because most companies are SMEs and we have a strong competition for workforce. So we have to be attractive to young people, and we also have to use the full potential of our workforce. And I'm now happy to give the floor to Alexander Frebel from Arbeit in Zukunft in Hamburg. Okay. So Alex, are you here?
Yes.
Okay, and your co-host, very good.
And do you see my presentation?
Yes.
Wonderful. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, dear colleagues. As Max pointed out in his presentation, excellent conditions for the development of the Knowledge Alliance for Human Resources are provided by the Hanse-Parlament and the Baltic Sea Academy. Nevertheless, additional studies were necessary for the development of a transnational applicable concept as a new dual bachelor's program, human resources and business administration, especially for the promotion of human resources in SMEs. In my contribution, I will present three main results. In the first step, a transnational comparison was made to find out whether there are similarities and differences between the countries with regard to the conditions of SMEs, and if so, in regard to which aspects. Secondly, as an important basis for the development of the dual bachelor study program, the essential requirements and needs for qualifications suitable for SMEs had to be determined. In doing so, the special relevance of social and personal competences in particular was worked out. Thirdly, the qualification profiles for the dual study program were developed on this basis. In the process, it has become clear that it is particularly important to emphasize competences in personal management, and thus personality development as a leader should have a much higher significance than in the case in usual study programs. The recommendations therefore focus on promoting leadership quality as an integral approach to combining knowledge, head, skills, hand, and people-oriented value-based action, heart. The basic approach is made practicable through methodological implications. In the first step, I like to present some relevant similarities and differences between the Baltic Sea countries. The countries are similar in regard to economic structure, especially the share of SMEs, social structure, demographic situation and development trends, and educational system. The shortage of junior staff, managers, leaders, owners, and entrepreneurs limits the existence or growth of SMEs. The aging of current owners need to be developed and recruited with new entrepreneurs. In all Baltic Sea countries, the share of SMEs is more than 99%, and the share of employees is over 60% up to 80% of all working people. In the European Union, fewer children will be born in the next 30 years than will be necessary to reproduce the population. We talk about a dejuvenation of society. At the same time, the aging of the population will lead to an extremely high proportion of people over 60, with a declining proportion of the labor force. This has implications for the financial viability of social systems and for the demands of employable persons. On the other hand, the countries in the Baltic Sea region are different. I pick up three essential aspects. There are differences due to historical developed social cultures, laws and rules, manifested structures, and tasks of institutions. There are differences due to established cultures of social and economic relations, including negotiation processes, design of human working conditions, diversity, and non-discrimination. And third, there are differences with regard to the structure of the education system, what and how it's taught, the quality and depth of cooperation between companies and educational institutions. It is to be noted that the Baltic Sea countries have an intrastate comparisons, different speeds of development at the same time. For example, in the demographic change, the economic development, and the application of digitalization. The questions are, therefore, are because of this, basically differences between SMEs? The answers are indifferent. Yes, no, perhaps. There are no significant differences in the conditions of SMEs based on the branch or the country. All companies have the same or similar challenges. There may be differences between SMEs due to the fact whether they are located in rural or urban areas, whether there are influences due to the competitive situation, or whether there is easy access to universities or further education providers. But yes, there are differences between SMEs and between SMEs and larger companies due to the size of the company, especially when there is a lack of resources for human resources and organizational development. And there are differences that lie in the so-called soft factors, for example, creativity, flexibility, speed of adaptation, dealing with the unexpected. And as a final example, there are differences in equipment and in terms of innovation of work tools, for example, in the use of digital technologies. The next question is, can SMEs be typologized? As a result of the research, no, SME structures cannot be typologized generally, as there are no suitable discriminatory criteria for a differentiation of companies in the fields of HR policy or workplace innovation, which allow a clear, unambiguous, systematic structuring in the sense of the typology. For this, the characteristics are too diverse and occur simultaneously in different graduations. A serious difference can only be found in the financial opportunities depending on the size of the company and thus the resources available for management tasks. The structure in relation to the status and development needs of HR policy and work design can only be answered specifically. Therefore, a checklist for the specific analysis of the current situation with indications of possible and necessary changes was developed. In the second part of my contribution, I will present some facets of qualification needs and requirements. Viewed overall, there are identical or similar qualification needs in SMEs. A, of workers and executive employees, for example, to carry out work in a professional manner, to adapt flexibly to changes and innovations, to engage in lifelong learning, etc. And B, there are similar or identical qualification needs of business owners, managers, superiors, or other leaders. I will not name all aspects, but will test your ability to grasp complex issues quickly. Look especially on the last 5 bullets: good work conditions, high capacity for innovation and flexibility, excellent leadership personalities, etc. Summarized, managers with duties in business administration and organizational development need profound knowledge and skills for administration, continuous diagnosis, action planning, implementation and evaluation, with the goal of transferring knowledge and skills to organizations to improve their capacity for solving problems and managing future change. And they need competencies to align with the rapidly changing and complex environments through designing humane and innovation-promoting working conditions, organizational learning, knowledge management, and transformation of organizational norms and values. Superiors with personal leadership and human resource development tasks should be able to improve individuals and the organizational system by promoting of workability and employability, expanding knowledge, skills, and abilities of employees through open and appreciative communication and participative leadership. For this, they need a human-oriented value system. attitudes, beliefs, and behavior, and role clarity. Thus, they create organizational climate and influence members' collective behavior. Management is a discipline. Leadership is a matter of character. Not all leaders are managers, but all managers are leaders. Therefore, managers need leadership competences, and for leaders it is good to have management knowledge and skills as well. In the second last part of the presentation, I will focus on what I consider to be important requirements for the qualification profile of the dual study program. In doing so, I will explore the questions of whether an improvement in existing educational provision is sufficient, or whether there is a need for fundamental changes. As you can see, my answer is yes, we need a new paradigm that places a strong emphasis on people-centered leadership. With the assumption that the essential teaching contents for business administration and human resources policy are contained in all usual curricula, they must nevertheless be adapted with regard to national specificities. That are national laws, regulations, rules, institutions, type of school and vocational training, and other cultural aspects. The dual study program needs adaptations in the sense of extensions in the content orientation and methodological approach. Usual business administration degree programs focus on imparting theoretical knowledge and methodological competence, a rather technocratic understanding of tasks and duties of managers prevail. The combination of studies with practical training enables the optimized application of knowledge and skills. The dual bachelor study program is an ideal path. There is a considerable gap regarding the topics of human resource management, personal leadership, and people-oriented workplace design. As necessary elements in training and studies, a coherent combination of knowledge, skills, and capabilities, as well as social and emotional competence is needed. Conventional, traditional curricula focus often and very strongly on management aspects, tasks, methods, tools, knowledge, role, and function. More emphasis should, and I think must, be placed on leadership competences, attitudes and behavior, communication with appreciative dialogues, recognizing expectations, participation, cooperation, own personality development, and supporting the development of others by coaching and mentoring. That leads at least to some recommendations. It is to be emphasized that the training and study should promote the desire for personal management, for leadership, and for learning and understanding all challenging topics, following a path to explore and discover the world of business and work. Just enjoy leadership and enjoy the teaching of leadership skills. As an integrated approach to a modern strategic human resource policy for all generations throughout their professional life course, the tried and tested model of workability is recommended being suitable. It should be subject of training and further education. The actively acting role of the learner is emphasized in the concept of experience-based learning. The didactic model is built on the assumption that only direct practical engagement with an object of learning enables effective, meaningful learning. Learning takes place on the basis of concrete experience with a real character instead of in artificial learning environments. Methodologically, an interaction of concrete experience and its reflection regarding the correspondence with abstract concepts and the subsequent adoption and active implementation is recommended. David Kolb's learning cycle is a suitable approach for this. The method, knowledge acquisition according to individual needs, has been promoted by Max. The learning object is defined as an individual task in orientation to the topic. In the companies, the students try out the practical implementation through conceptual planning, coordination with colleagues and superiors, and realization. The results are presented in the learning group and evaluated with regard to the procedure and the benefits. The greatest learning effects can be achieved when active doing is combined with theory-guided reflection. Integrative linking of theory and practice is the ultimate way to dual qualification. As a guide for the journey towards professional satisfaction of learners and teachers, the following points are worth to be highlighted. Discover and promote one's own talents. Recognize whether one's inclinations are more oriented towards management or leadership, or a good combination of both. Emotional social intelligence as a quality alongside cognitive and manual skills and competences is necessary for all persons who take on tasks of leadership and operational management. The meaningful as well challenging task in teaching is to explore, actively develop and promote individual talents, that is, to enable and to ennoble them. And dear lecturers, don't hang your head. The challenges may foster your desire to develop future leadership talents. And therefore, and despite of all, come on, let us walk together on the wild side, taking the path of developing future leaders in a strengthening and delightful way. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Alec. I'm checking the chat if there's some direct questions or the panel. Please, if you have no direct questions right now, put them on the panel for the next discussion round. And then I would like to continue our walk on the wild side with the presentation from Dr. Magdalena Grasiak from the Gdansk Tech University on the best practices on workplace innovation SMEs. So we can see your presentation.
Yes, welcome everybody. My name is Marzena Grzesiak. I work at Gdańsk University of Technology, and today I would like to present some issues concerning best practices in workplace innovation and its implementation. Gdańsk University of Technology is a partner in Knowledge Alliances for Human Resources Erasmus Plus project, analyzes these topics and produced a few reports. The organization of workplace plays a vital role in a company's ability to compete and innovate. Workplace innovation researchers start from the idea that people are our most valuable assets.
Yes, sorry, Margina, just we don't see your presentation on presentation mode. It's still on the editor mode.
I don't know why, because I share the screen.
Yeah, we see your screen, but it's not on the presentation mode. Maybe if you click on presentation.
Maybe I try do it again. Maybe there ekran. Sure. Maybe now.
Yes, now it works. Thank you.
Yes, it's okay.
Perfect. Thank you.
Okay. So and continue. Okay, but what is workplace innovation? In short, it can be described as those workplace practices and cultures that enable employees at all levels to use their knowledge, competencies, and creativity to the full. It builds organization where people come to work to do two things: to undertake their functional tasks in the most effective way possible, and to improve the business. Workplace innovation in the economic literature is characterized as a broad concept that overlaps with other forms of innovation, in particular organizational and process innovation. It comprises a wide range of different practices assigned to areas such as human resource management or organizational development. We can observe an evolution of the workplace innovation definition, but all of these definitions of workplace innovations have common elements. They treat workplace innovation as a process of productive reflection as part of everyday working life, interaction between stakeholders within and outside the organization, a process with built bridges between the strategic knowledge of the leadership, the professional and tacit knowledge of frontline employees, and organizational design knowledge of experts, and a process towards win-win outcomes for the organization and employees. Project partners from Finland, Germany, Latvia, and Poland have chosen for analysis 18 best practices of workplace innovations. Best practices chosen for the analysis differ from each other due to their specificity, nature, scope, stakeholders' commitment, financial costs, etc. What connects them are their positive results both for the employees and organizations. Analysis of best practices allows to estimating the impact of workplace innovations. They were classified into 4 groups mentioned earlier. The selection of best practices for detailed analysis has been made from those sent by project partners. One best practice from each category identified and characterized in the report, the Baltic-Sea-wide analysis of workplace innovation best practices was chosen. For example, TICI is the best practice from the category process of productive reflection as part of everyday working life. The next, corp working for SMEs, represents the category interaction between stakeholders within and outside the organization. Third, FASTEMS, the way we work, was classified as best practice in the third group. Process with built bridges between the strategic knowledge of the leadership, the professional and tacit knowledge of frontline employees, and organizational design knowledge of experts. And the last one, non-monetary motivations to ensure employee satisfaction with workplace, represents the category process towards win-win outcomes for the organization and employees. Among the critical success factors of best practice transfer in enterprises, the professionals distinguish inter alia, selecting an appropriate model solution, understanding the determinants of its effective implementation, or ensuring favorable conditions for the implementation in a follower organization. Critical conditions of best practices implementation success could relate to the best practice chosen for implementation. It means a common goal of best practice and the implementing enterprise, appropriate choice aligned with the implementing enterprise competencies, could relate to the workforce of the implementing enterprise. It means a suitable qualification of the workforce, enabling the implementation, proper selection of the team responsible for the implementation, and could relate to the management of the implementing enterprise. It means internal communication and promotion of best practice idea, creating an environment conducive to the best practice being implemented and willing to share its expertise, providing the infrastructure necessary for the implementation, and management commitment. Implementation of best practices is a very specific process requiring a lot of management's attention and commitment. Its results determine different factors, the internal situation of the organization and in its external environment, the country where the solution treated as the best practice was implemented originally and to where it is going to be replayed. It is not relevant. Nevertheless, the socio-economic, cultural, legal conditions occurring in those countries matters. Among internal determinants of a successful implementation of workplace innovation best practices can be pointed to those related to employers, organization, and related to employees. As an example of this related to employers, organization, can be expressed employers, managers' attitude towards workplace innovation, openness, their readiness for implementation of a new solution, knowledge about workplace innovation, ability to cooperate with internal, external partners in workplace innovation implementations, organizational culture. The more employee-friendly it is, the implementation process will be proceeded more efficiently and without any critical problems. Organizational structure, flat structures with a short path of decision-making facilitate implementation, increase the flexibility of the organization, and relations between employees and dialogue between employees and managers. Democratic management style promotes workplace innovation, involves employees into searching new solutions, conducting the workplace conditions improvement. Good communication helps to avoid misunderstanding and serves for effective implementation. Effectively designed teams accept new solutions smoothly. Team members help to each other to learn new solutions if applicable. Factors related to employees are as follow: performing innovative behavior among employees, attitudes towards new solution proposed by the management, readiness to get involved in new solutions, motivation, previous professional experience and expectations according to the workplace organization, and structure of personal needs and the level of their satisfaction. External factors determining best practices of workplace innovation implementation results, among others, with legal conditions. Not all solutions, especially involving flexible working conditions, contracts, working hours, are allowed in labor law in different countries. Competitors, implementation or abandoning the implementation of some solutions is more the result of environmental pressure than identified in the given time organizations need. competitors which use the solution build their competitive position, so others in the sector follow them. And clients' expectations, organizations implement some workplace innovation best practices to build up a positive image or blurring the negative opinions. Best practices of workplace innovation identified by project partners and analyzed in the report can be implemented in other countries. The success will depend on the internal situation of the organization, including employees, and the situation in the sector, industry where organization operates. 3 of 4 project partners decided to implement workplace innovation as a part of our project. Okay. This best practices on our list, recommendation list, were implemented. One partner stated that there was no possibility for implementation because organization is too small and already has implemented proposed solutions. The main motivation for partners implementing new workplace innovations was the need of change that ensures organization grow, the current situation, the need of employees reunion, the simplicity of innovation implementation. So entrepreneurs decide for workplace innovations implementation if they respond to recognize organizations' need and are relatively easily to implement. The results can be expected in a short period of time. Entrepreneurs decide to implement workplace innovation after analysis of potential benefits and risks. They need analytical tools helping them with decisions making what innovation and when to implement. Partners identified factors that influence the implementation process mostly, as well as the barriers. As the greatest barriers they pointed, organizations' internal culture and employees who shape it, cultural difficulties, and older employees haven't been keen to choose to work in co-working spaces despite even longer travel to work in a new office, and mental barrier associated with the modification of work organization on both the employees and management side. The success of workplace innovation implementation depends on people and their attitude, both employees and employers. All project partners agreed that are satisfied of implementation the chosen practice. Afterwards, they said it was quite easy to implement it, even if some extra work was needed. They declared it will be continuing developing in future. It is important. It is very important to start the changes, workplace innovation implementation. It's needed to convince employees to take risk and just start. Thank you very much for attention. If you want to share your experience or have any question, please contact us or maybe ask on the Padlet. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much, Marzena. So let's see if there are some questions in the chat. Or no, Christian is sharing the Padlet. Yes, I like Alex 3 H's: heart, hand, and head, hand, and heart. Yes, Johanna wrote that. I agree, it's a very nice picture. Then there's a question to Alexander. Alexander Frevel stated that no prototypes can be formed with regard to the qualification needs for SMEs. He recommended a search register instead. This is interesting. What kind of register is that and how does it work? Can you give us some more information about this register, Alec?
Yes, it is no register. That is a questionnaire, a checklist to that the companies by themselves or with external support can identify where do I stand in my HR policies, in my workplace innovation concepts, and what do I think what will be needed, and then you can change your opinions and you can change your policies. That's 3 pages with about 30 questions to identify. We don't need it. We have some ideas up to we are very experienced in this specific topic. And you can get it from the report in the of the project.
Okay. Thank you very much, Alec. And then there's a question to Marina from Gdansk Tech. With regard to best practices for workplace innovation, the entire Baltic Sea region was examined. Are there differences between individual countries?
Really, we didn't notice differences, but of course, we have to point the differences in the report. And I think that the main barriers are legal conditions, because some solutions are not allowed in a specific country, maybe. But this practices, which was examined, analyzed, I think it is a very rather simple solutions, so every enterprise can implement it. And about the size of the company, it is the next question. I don't know, maybe to me.
Yeah, please.
But we didn't examine bigger companies. I think that the size of company influence on maybe the range of innovation, you know, because small company don't have maybe money for financing some solutions, and the possibility to finance by the bigger companies is bigger. So I don't think that the size of the company influence on, you know, the will of implement the workplace innovation. But of course, I think then the kind of the innovation, you know, the range could be different.
Okay. Well, I can imagine there's a difference between in the size of a company, because for SMEs it's faster to implement workplace innovation because the structures are much smaller. Yeah,
it is easier to implement.
It's probably they're more flexible and easier to implement.
Yes.
But of course, big companies maybe have more financial resources to create new workplace innovation.
Yeah.
And there's another question. How about the differences between branches? Are there any differences between branches? So maybe it's different for a butcher company or jeweler or bakery to a web designer company. Did you realize any differences in different sectors of companies?
About difference between branches, is it expected to answer it for me? Okay.
If you have some
I think,
insight.
you know, workplace innovation, for example, concerning to the organizational culture, I think that the branches is not important now. Sometimes, of course, branch is important. It depends on solution, on innovation, I think. Because of course, some innovation we can implement in this branch, and some innovation we can't implement on this branch. Maybe, as you said, in the bakery, we can implement, for example, organizational innovation, and for example, in build company, we can implement more process innovation, maybe.
Yes, I think we realized there's a little difference in the different sectors. Especially it's in the craft sector, the manufacturing sector, it's a little bit more difficult because things like home office are not possible. If you're a baker or a butcher, the flexible working hours or home office are much more difficult to realize than if you're a web designer that can work from the computer only. But yeah, any more comments or questions? Or somebody from the partnership that would like to chip in on some of the questions? I'm also checking the chat. Of course, you don't have to write the questions on the padlet. You can now also just ask the questions by turning on your microphone. I'm checking all the people. No more questions. Then I think we can proceed, and if Juris is ready from the Latvian Chamber of Commerce and Industry for the field report on workplace innovation trainings. Juris, are you ready?
Yes, good morning. I will share screen. So
okay, thank you very much.
Can you see it?
Yes, we see your screen in edit mode.
Right now?
And now it's a full screen. Yes, perfect.
Okay, good.
Thank you.
Yes, so good morning, everyone. I'm Juris Dubatovka, assistant of the head of the European Union Projects Department here in Latvian Chamber of Commerce and Industry. And today I will tell you more about workplace innovation training for SMEs that were carried out here in Latvia. And my presentation will consist out of two parts. First part will be PowerPoint presentation, which will be very short. I will try to keep it as brief as possible. And then in the second part, we will show you the video that was developed within this project about the training itself. So, and if you have any questions, yeah, just feel free to ask them, and I will try to do my best to answer them. So let's start. Back in the autumn of 2020, we organized the first training course, innovation processes, which was developed within this project. Curriculum of this training course was also developed by other partner from Latvia, University of Latvia. And in total, we gathered 12 participants, which represented different fields, different sectors, and they wanted all to improve their HR processes in their companies. Trainings included three parts: theoretical, practical, and company visits to different companies to learn more about HR improvements. And training consisted out of 6 training sessions. Like I mentioned, more about trainings you will hear afterwards in the video. So let's move on. And When applying for trainings, each participant defined their challenge, which they would like to improve within this training course, and based on which they would develop their project, which was also the final work of this training course. As you can see, challenges vary from talent management to increasement of employee motivational system, but they all are connected to HR processes in the company. And just for you to have a bit better view what projects help to improve, what projects were all about, I will have to show you a bit deeper look into two of the projects, which I find very interesting. So yeah, the first project was developed by one of the participants from company Primum, which is the finance management company, who employs 16 employees, sorry. And their project was about talent management and talent attraction. Their project included the following tasks: employee audit, employee interviews, individual competence building plans, employee competence standard development, and recruitment of a new specialists. When we contacted the company representatives sometime after to find out about the progress of their project and what were the results, we received the following answers: that within the project they have developed a non-monetary motivation program, remuneration program. They have improved their workplace. Work has been started to improve the public image of the company, and the internal growth program was also developed. As for the second project, I would like to show you, it was developed by other participant, which is Augstsprieguma tīkls, which is independent transmission system operator in the Republic of Latvia. It employs around 520 employees, so you can see the difference. That was a smaller company, this is a lot bigger. And their project was about enhancement of employee involvement and implementation of the lean management system. Tasks within this project that they did was the research on employee involvement, research on lean methods and tools, exchange of experience with companies that have already implemented the lean system. And what I would like to stress out here is that one of these companies also participated in the trainings, so they found out the common language in the trainings and shared their knowledge and experience afterwards. As well, they organized the lean training for second level managers, lean trainings for employees in Riga and region with cooperation with one of the biggest training centers in Latvia. And they also started the lean implementation. When we got in contact with them and asked what their progress with the project was, we received the following answer from them: that implementation takes a long time, but at this point, company has already organized trainings for senior management and level 2 managers. A large group of employees has been recruited for introductory training on the lean method, and group of 15 managers and employees has been created to study and start implementing the lean. So very, very brief overview of what the projects were about. As for the results, they were following: that participants acquired new contacts, both from companies and lecturers, as I mentioned. Company representatives who were participants also shared experience between them, which we find very good. 5 company visits were carried out with practical exchange of the information. All companies that were visited were from different fields, and all of them told about something different what participants could take for themselves. For example, organizational culture, flexible and remote job organization, non-monetary motivation for employees, talent management, development of remuneration system, and internal training program. And in the end, 5 out of 12 participants successfully implemented projects and carried them out in their companies. The reason why not all of 12 of them is due to the difficulties companies faced due to COVID-19. Overall feedback from participants was also quite good. Some of them wrote additional feedback, which helped us to understand better what was good and what could be improved. Here I have written down some of the most important points that helped us to understand what was good and what we could have done a bit different maybe. And we understood that it is more important for company representatives to give them more practical tasks because they would like to work more on them, and that the company visits was the right decisions for the company, for us to organize. And in the very end, we also asked participants to evaluate the whole training course. And as you can see, evaluation results are quite good. For example, overall satisfaction with theoretical information and satisfaction with information received during training visits and guest lectures is 9.2 out of 10, which we assume is quite good. And overall satisfaction with trainings is a bit lower, which is 8.3. And as I mentioned, that some of the participants would like to have more practical tasks. Some of the participants would like to have longer training day. Some of the participants would like to have shorter training day. That also affected the evaluation. And based on the feedback and evaluation, it was decided that Latvian Chamber of Commerce and Industry will implement the second round of trainings, taking into account all the feedback and suggestions that were received. And so we did. And the second training cycle is happening from November 2021 to January 2022. It has gathered 17 participants this time, all from different fields, all with their own challenges. And this time the trainings are taking place 100% online format. And at the moment, participants are actively working on their projects. So on the January 27th, they can present their final work. And afterwards, we will also have, of course, the evaluation, which will allow us to understand whether this format was good and whether we can implement trainings 100% online, or should we stick to like hybrid format or organize it only face-to-face. Thank you for your attention. That is it from my monologue, and hopefully you have a better view what trainings were all about. Yes, right now I would like to ask Christian for help to share the video. Christian, could you please?
Ir vissvarīgākais resurss inovāciju un produktivitātes uzlabošanai. Tieši tāpēc, lai Baltijas jūras reģiona mazie un vidējie uzņēmumi ilgtermiņā saglabātu konkurētspēju, ir nepieciešams stiprināt to inovācijas spēju. Latvijas Tirdzniecības un Rūpniecības kamera kopā ar partneriem no Somijas, Vācijas un Polijas ievieš starptautisku projektu KA for HR. Projekta mērķis ir veicināt sadarbību starp partnervalstu tirdzniecības kamerām, universitātēm, maziem un vidējiem uzņēmumiem, lai veidotu partnerību, cilvēku resursu un darba vietu inovāciju jomā. Šī projekta ietvaros tika izstrādātas apmācības, kas palīdzēs attīstīt kompetences darba vietu inovāciju jautājumos. Kā arī projekta ietvaros tika veikti pētījumi un izstrādāts duālās izglītības bakalaura studiju kurss. 2020. gadā tika organizēts apmācību kurss inovācijas personāla vadībā. Kopumā uz šo apmācību kursu pieteicās 12 cilvēki, vecumā no 25 līdz 40 gadiem, kuri bija mazo un vidējo uzņēmumu vadītāji vai personāla vadības speciālisti. Dalībnieki pārstāvēja tādas nozares kā nekustamie īpašumi, informācijas tehnoloģijas, kokrūpniecības, dizaina, elektroenerģijas apgādes un finanšu. Katrs dalībnieks, piesakoties apmācībām, definēja sava uzņēmuma izaicinājumu, kam viņš vēlētos rast risinājumu, piedaloties šajos apmācību kursos. Izaicinājumi iekļāva tādas lietas kā darbinieku motivācijas paaugstināšana, lean sistēmas ieviešana, talantu vadības izveide, komandas saliedēšana, attālinātā darba ieviešana. Apmācību saturs tika veidots un pielāgots dalībnieku vajadzībām, izmantojot KAIN metodi. Tās sevī iekļāva 3 daļas – teorētisko daļu par tādām tēmām kā cilvēku resursu vadība, inovāciju attīstīšanai, inovācijas un radošums, talantu vadība un citas. Praktisko daļu, kurā dalībnieki veica praktiskos uzdevumus gan individuāli, gan grupās, kas bija pielāgoti viņu projektiem, un arī uzņēmumu apmeklējumus, kuru ietvaros tika apmeklēti tādi uzņēmumi kā TET, Bite Latvija, Fontes Group, For Finance un Accenture Latvija. Pēc apmācībām dalībniekiem tika doti 2 mēneši, lai sagatavotu un ieviestu projektu savos uzņēmumos. Pēc 2 mēnešiem dalībnieki atkal satikās, lai prezentētu savus projektus un pastāstītu, kas izdevās labi, kādi bija izaicinājumi ieviešot projektu un ko būtu nepieciešams uzlabot. Apmācību noslēgumā veiksmīgi ieviest projektu uzņēmumā izdevās 42% dalībnieku. Vienu no apmācību dalībniekiem, kuram izdevās ieviest projektu, lūdzām dalīties ar savu pieredzi par apmācībām.
Tātad esmu no akciju sabiedrības augstsprieguma tīkls, kas ir enerģētikas uzņēmums Latvijā un pārvada augstsprieguma elektroenerģiju Latvijas teritorijā. Uzņēmums ir dibināts 1939. gadā un 15. oktobrī mums palika 82 gadi. Uzņēmumā esam apmēram 520 darbinieki un personāla daļā esam 4. Mans uzaicinājums bija darbinieku iesaiste un lean ieviešana uzņēmumā. Iegūtās zināšanas projekta ietveros bija labas, un tās noderēja arī manam projektam. Ieviešot projektu atbalstīja mani visas personāla daļas, kolēģis, atbalstīja uzņēmumu vadību un arī mūsu komunikācija daļa. Galvenie izaicinājumi ieviešot projektu bija izstāstīt darbiniekiem, kāpēc ir nepieciešama iesaiste un kāpēc ir nepieciešams lean. Jo, kā mēs visi zinām, lean ir vadības sistēma, kur ar mazākiem līdzekļiem tiek paveikts vairāk. Un tad darbinieki saprot, kad ar mazākiem līdzekļiem tas nozīmē arī ar mazākiem cilvēku resursiem, un viņi var tikt atlaisti. Un tad ir katram rūpīgi jāizskaidro, kā tad būs, ja mēs to lean ieviesīsim. Un otrs tāds lielākais izaicinājums bija noorganizēt mācības online vidē, jo tas līdz šim nebija darīts, un tad likās, ka kā tad būs. Tātad galvenie ieguvumi bija mācības no citu pieredzes. Tās bija klātienes tikšanās ar Bite Latvija, ar TET, ar Accenture gan attālināti, bet viņu pieredze tieši mācību sistēmas organizēšanā, attālinātā darba organizēšanā, arī, piemēram, TET informācija par viņu bonusu grozu, to es noteikti varu un varēšu izmantot savā darbā. Kā jau es minēju, tās bija klātienes vizītes pie uzņēmumiem, un vēl tāds pozitīvs moments mācībās bija, kad mēs, visa grupa, ļoti cieši bijām tā sasaistīti, un mēs varējām savā starpā ļoti labi parunāt un dalīties ar pieredzi. Un tieši man ciešāka sadarbība sanāca ar vienu no kolēģītēm mācībās, tā bija Līga Radomišķe no Plakmatika Latvija, kuriem jau ir ieviests lean, un mēs arī noorganizējām ar viņiem savstarpēju interviju un guvām pieredzi no viņu lean ieviešanas jau. Bet bija ļoti daudz teorijas, un nākamreiz varbūt varētu pieiet arī praktiskajām zināšanām vairāk. Jā, mums ir paredzēta šobrīd talantu vadības sistēmas ieviešana, kas mums vēl līdz šim tā pilnībā ieviest uzņēmumā. Un tad mums ir paredzēts arī iekšējās mācības sistēmas izveide Moodle vidē. Jā, šādas mācības ieteiktu citiem, jo jebkuras iegūtās zināšanas tās dod labumu mūsu darbam, un jebkura iegūtā pieredze tā ir kā atbalsts mūsu ikdienai. Un citiem es varu ieteikt nebaidīties un pieteikties šādos kursos, jo piedalās cilvēki no dažādiem uzņēmumiem un ir ļoti interesanti.
Tāpat lūdzām vienu no aizvadītā gada lektoriem pastāstīt vairāk par apmācību nepieciešamību.
Pats svarīgākais uzņēmumā tas ir cilvēks. Un labā lieta ir tāda, ka uzņēmumi šobrīd to ir sapratuši un ir spēruši arī ļoti daudzus soļus tajā virzienā, lai arī cilvēks justos tiešām labi uzņēmumā. Bet, kā mēs zinām, tad vienmēr ir iespējams izdarīt vēl kaut ko vairāk, tādēļ arī šajā mācību ciklā satikās uzņēmuma vadības pārstāvji, uzņēmuma personāla vadības pārstāvji, kuri vēlējās kaut ko uzlabot sava uzņēmuma darbiniekiem. Nu jā, un šobrīd, kā mēs zinām, tad aizvadītajā gadā aktuālākais jautājums personāla vadībā bija, kā pāriet uz attālinātu darbu, ko darīt, kādus rīkus izmantot, kā ar to visu tagad tikt galā. Šobrīd jau ir tā, ka lielākā daļa uzņēmumu ir veiksmīgi pārgājuši uz attālināto darbu un principā ir sapratuši, ka tā būs jaunā realitāte. Daļa no darbiniekiem iespējams nekad neatgriezīsies birojā, daļa no darbiniekiem tiklīdz kā būs iespēja tomēr vēlēsies atgriezties birojā. Un tagad uzņēmumiem ir jauns izaicinājums, kā nodrošināt to, kas būs tālāk. Šo te hibrīdu versiju, kurā daļa no darbiniekiem strādā attālināti, savukārt daļa strādā klātienē. Nu, lūk, un aizvadītajā gadā apmācības notika tādā formā, ka uzņēmumi sākumā nodefinēja projektu, pie kā viņi strādās, kādu lietu, ko viņi vēlās uzlabot tieši savos personāla vadības procesos, un tad apmācību gaitā gan apmeklējot citus uzņēmumus, gan diskutējot ar citiem apmācību dalībniekiem, gan klausoties teoriju, strādāja praktiski pie savu projektu ieviešanas. Un manā skatījumā šis bija ļoti veiksmīgs apmācību formāts tieši tādēļ, ka tur piedalījās gan uzņēmumu vadības pārstāvji, gan uzņēmumu personāla vadītāji, un bija arī gan lielāki, gan mazāki uzņēmumi, un tieši šī dalīšanās pieredzē palīdzēja viņiem paskatīties uz saviem projektiem un uz saviem jautājumiem no ļoti dažādām perspektīvām. Un manā ieskatā šis apmācību formāts bija ļoti veiksmīgs, un es domāju, ka tādu vajadzētu īstenot ne tikai par personāla vadības tēmām, bet par jebkuru tēmu, kas ir aktuāla uzņēmumiem, jo tieši darbs pie praktiska projekta kopā ar, sauksim to par komandu, no citiem uzņēmumiem, tieši tādā veidā var rasties vislabākās idejas, vislabākā pieredzes apmaiņa un arī motivācija un enerģija strādāt un arī paveikt šos savus projektus.
Arī šogad Latvijas Tirdzniecības un Rūpniecības kamera organizē šāda veida apmācības. Šoreiz apmācības norisinās tiešsaistes formātā, un tajās piedalās 17 uzņēmumu pārstāvji, kuri šajā brīdī aktīvi strādā pie projektu ieviešanas uzņēmumos, lai janvārī varētu prezentēt savus rezultātus.
Very nice video clip for information on the project and what you did in Latvia. Quite impressive. Thank you very much for sharing. Are there any direct questions to Juris? If that's not the case, then we will continue with the next part of this presentation in Latvia about the new dual bachelor study courses. And I believe Denise Ponomareva will give us this presentation.
Yes. Am I able to share my screen? Let me check.
Yes.
Let me check. Okay, it should work, right?
Yes, we see your screen.
Okay, here is a presentation. Do you see yourselves as well in the video?
Yes, we see ourselves, but
Okay.
we see the edit mode, so it's not on full screen. Yeah.
Okay, should
Now
be.
it is.
So, hello to everyone. My name is Denise, and together with my colleague Roman Sputans, we will present you our work result. We both are representing University of Latvia, and we work for the Center for European and Transition Studies. And our main activity or major task in the project was development of the concept for dual program, HR and business administration at the bachelor level. And our work resulted in the handbook model. I would like to say that this work was done not only by our CETS team, me, Romans, and other colleagues, but also to the development of the handbook contributed other project partners, namely Latvian company Vides Designs, partner universities of project Gdańsk University of Technology and Satakunta University of Applied Science. And also I would like to thank you for the contribution Arbeit Zukunft and lead partners Baltic Sea Academy. Let's say conditions and the reason why this dual study program is needed is a various challenges in the Baltic Sea region, which small medium enterprises are facing. And as we are already many times mentioned today, one of the important shortage is a lack of the skilled workers and entrepreneurs and their insufficient qualifications, and thus in the result too little innovation in the companies. And from demographic perspective, due to the population aging and negative birth rates, the number of skilled workers and entrepreneurs are regularly decreasing and will decrease even more in the future. And in the result of the Cow4HR analysis, we can say that in individual Baltic Sea region countries, the number of young workers will be reduced by up to 25% by 2030, which is a significant number. And for the enterprises, it means that they are and will face a problem related to next successor for the companies. So in regarding this, SMEs need to focus on the improving skills, attracting qualified specialists, and closing entrepreneurial gap is the most important support task for companies in Baltic Sea region. According to Eurostat, we can see in the graph that in all Baltic Sea region countries, there will be a significant decline population by 2030 year. Exception here is Norway and Sweden. From perspective of the academia, university, and qualification, traditional universities prepare graduates with a good theoretical knowledge, but students are usually lacking professional experience and practical skills. And in order to integrate in the company and become experienced worker, graduates need at least a couple of years. Therefore, companies can only gain very limited number of skilled workers and entrepreneurs from the high and growing number of university graduates. And the potential solution for this problem of the decreasing number of economically active people and skilled workers is a German well-known and well-proven model of dual education, where students are spending half of the training time in the company and half time at the university. And in Germany, there are various forms of dual studies where the learning is taking place at the university and in company. So it's a more practice integrated. And another combination is of the study at the university, working in the company, and simultaneously vocational training. So it's a more training integrated. Also, there is a model where students are studying at the university, working in the company, and having a professional activity. And at the end of the such studies of dual studies, companies can receive a young talent with a good theoretical qualification and, of course, a practical experience and professional skills. What should be mentioned that students are contracted in the company, which means that they are receiving remuneration and they are also insured. There are also various forms of the practical learning. One is like a block system. Basically, the students are spending a couple of months at the university and then they have training in the company. And another form, which is, as I understood, is a more common and more popular, is a weekly change where 3 or 4 days students are spending working, training in the company, and 2 or 3 days they are studying at the university. Due to the practical orientation, dual studies are very popular in Germany, and they are already fully developed and was a great success in northern Germany. 15 different dual study programs together with companies implemented. And for company attraction or involvement in the dual education programs means that they retain themselves permanently. They gain entrepreneurial, managerial, and qualified staff. And through training partnership of companies and universities, at the same time, are targeted innovation promotion and jointly implementation of research and development projects. Basically, students and companies are working together in order to find some innovative solution for the company. When we are talking about Latvian experience, I have to say that the term work-based learning is more common and is more understandable than the dual study program or dual education. And also practical learning in Latvian education system is considered of a high importance So far, most of the attention was given at the level of the vet education, the colleges, where the number of projects were implemented from the support of the EU funds or national funds, or also from the support of the German government, in order to, let's say, start this approach in Latvia. And there was, for example, a couple of the projects where trainings of the technical colleges were training of students in technical colleges were financing the company. And I will maybe not go into details, but just to briefly mention that important cornerstone to introduce the work-based learning approach was the cooperation with Germany, when in 2013, during the president visit, there was a signed cooperation between Latvia and Germany to promote this practical learning in Latvia. And another important cornerstone was adoption by Cabinet of Ministers, let's say, a regulation with a guidelines how to organize and implement this work-based learning, but at the vet educational education institutions. As regards to the higher education, there are no yet study programs implemented, dual study programs, and there are also no specific regulation for this kind of programs. And therefore, Call4HR project is considered as a tool to promote this dual study practical learning in Latvia. There is also, we found that there is also another project at Latvian Agriculture University. They are training wood sector workers at the college level program. And let's finally talk about the handbook, which is the result of the work. And the handbook consists of the concept, practical guidelines on the bachelor level dual study program, HR and business administration, and it has it is having focus on the work-based learning that can be suitable for integration development in other European region. Handbook is also consists a curricular study plan with topical and fundamental courses in the business management and human resources, specifically focusing on the workplace innovation, leadership skills development, and practical experience acquiring. And also due to the pandemic situation and change toward the remote work, the courses and the topic of the courses was already changed to this direction, to the hybrid working process. And in addition, handbook consists a summary on experience on dual education in Germany, Latvia, Poland, and Finland. These are basically Call4HR partner universities. For the implementation of the concept in other countries, the universities should adjust, of course, should adjust and adapt the concept to their national regulation and specific requirements of higher education institutions, for example, to consider licensing, accreditation issues, distribution of ECTS categories, and number of hours at the university, and for practical learning. Who can benefit, I would say, from the handbook? These are, of course, higher education providers, but also companies. And as our experience with this program and concept, show that companies are becoming even more interested to be involved in the education system, education process, to get those qualified and professional workers. About this concept of the dual program, as there is no specific regulation for dual studies in Latvia, the concept was developed under the existing framework, namely a professional study program requirements, and that's why the program is 4 years long. And at the end of the studies, students receives 240 ECTS, basically 30 ECTS per semester, which is European standard. After the studies, graduates receives professional bachelor degree in business administration. And what should be mentioned that not only a degree is gained, but also professional qualification is obtained in the professional programs. In total, the developed concept covers more than 7,000 study hours, which consist of contact hours at the university, educational practice, work-based learning, and self-study. Ideally, the concept should cover half time at the university and half time in the company. In our case, due to the limitation of regulation, our proportion is like 30% of practical learning, and around 30% is the contact hours, and the rest time is devoted to the self-study. For the credit points and for the measuring the studies and work at the university is measured by ECTS credit points, and for study process, one full-time study work load means that 40 academic hours are spent by studying, and it is equal to 1.5 ECTS. But in case of the work-based learning, 1 week is equal to 40 astronomical hours, which is equal to 53.3 academic hours. Basically, this was the, let's say, formula how to achieve more, how to calculate more timing at the company. If we look at the academic hours, the proportion of the spending hours at the company seems smaller, but in reality, when we look to the astronomical hours, students are spending more time in the company. This is the curriculum of the program, and the result there was developed 37 study courses. Each study course is described separately in handbook module by providing information on the main tasks of the course, requirements to pass it, and updated an actual list of the literature and list of the sources. Also, as you can see in a violet color, there are educational practice elements, which means that the students are doing practical activity at the university. For example, there's research and development projects performed by students in cooperation with companies. And then at the end of each study year, students are having a practical placement in the companies. And in order to complete the study program, students have to develop and defend a thesis. Okay, I think one slide is, okay. What's maybe also important to mention that when we developed the concept of the program, we had to consider also regulation distribution of ECTS type, which is regulated by national law. I don't know why I don't see the slide. Let me check. Maybe I have accidentally deleted. Yes. Okay. Then. No, it's just, it has jumped down. Okay. So yes, the compulsory content of the bachelor program, which is a specific of Latvian law, and it is nationally regulated that the volume of the program should cover a specific type of courses and should have specific number of ECTS. Shortly about experience of the rest partner universities in Poland, dual studies have recently started to develop, and there has been also changes in the law, which helps to foster development of this dual studies. What is important to say that the Ministry of Science and Higher Education in 2019 has allocated a huge amount of money in order to initiate competition, the call of dual studies, and where the number of the projects in the universities were financed in order to train students in various fields of economy. Regarding to Finland, the situation is similar to Latvia. There is no legal regulation, and dual study form is not officially recognized in Finland. So the more practical education can be gained or received in the universities of applied sciences, which provides a more practical education and practice at the enterprise. And at this point, I would like to give a floor to my colleague Romans.
Thank you, Denise.
Thank you.
Yeah, so we've tested several courses. I joined Denise to thank to all, and I really find this as a celebrative conference to look back on the achievements that we had. It was really, really interesting. It opened new sites for us and several doors, I think, too, to go into the what I like to call future of education market and labor market. Yeah, this intermix. We all feel it. It's needed and it's good at school, but once you dive into it, you face several challenges, but the ambition is higher than the challenge, and we tend to overcome most of them. So we tested several courses, and here I would like to say special thanks to Alec. His kind method 3 years ago, I think it was now, in Riga, one of the seminars in Riga that we had, that somehow stuck, and we used it. So yes, we tested particularly those courses where the mix of labor market, the company's involvement in the study process in academic environment is the closest. The testing we had to do on the academic programs, although the new program to this concept developed for the professional program, but still this practical aspects, this real-time business touch in academic studies is also both important, necessary, and appealing to students. And what was a very nice surprise, companies are very open also to participate. So all in all, yeah, almost 150 students were involved in those courses that we participated, not only Latvian students, but also Erasmus students from Erasmus participating European Union countries. And we increased the cooperation with small and medium enterprises in these study courses. That included guest lectures, study visits, that include real-time current business problem solving. Yeah, the guest lecturers came to the courses with, we have now this problem. We want to open new market, or we're opening new product to enter new market, or new product in the existing market, or we have a lot of these problems are related to HR, and to some surprise, a lot of were aimed at motivation of the people, people working at the companies in various structural units at various companies. Somewhere the motivation of the storage block of the company, somewhere logistics, somewhere office workers. So that they came into study process with these real-time business challenges that they faced. Another aspect how we cooperate with small and medium enterprises was that they actually set the topics for students' research, for on several levels, for what we call course papers within the courses, and also within the program, and also some topics were set for bachelor thesis development that will be done now in spring, as of February. Overall, yes, it works well, and both students and companies liked it a lot, and it opened way to incorporate it further on, and these good examples will also help us. I do believe, although it is big machinery, this legislation, national education legislation, it's not so easy to overcome, but with the good examples from home, and what I also would like to emphasize from abroad, this united in diversity. Poland have it, Germany have it, Finland are somewhat like us, but we can show examples that it can work, and it's useful and interesting. Yes, I think Denise, I covered this the tested courses.
Moving further.
Really good. It was really well recognized by all the participants. Students, that were no doubts that they would like it, because it kind of diversifies their academic process. But I knew companies are open to innovation, more to rather high extent. But I must say I was very pleasantly, but still a bit surprised how open the companies are. They are really coming into and devoting their time. So the major uniqueness selling points I would like to emphasize on this program to motivate and inspire ourselves to move on with it, but also to inspire others, to give you the sense of that it can be used, and there is a lot of work beneath it done. So those who will be using this concept and handbook will save a lot of time and effort to organize things. You basically have the product to move on. And the best part of this product that we find, well, clearly it's internationally designed. It's in English, so basically available globally, especially in these times when we go on to very much remote part of our socioeconomic processes. And that here is another derives a little aspect that also modules of this program can be used. If it's too big to implement as such, micro qualifications are coming very much into picture in the education market. So some part of the program can also be used that way for online teaching. And other selling points, it touches, it basically incorporates the future of education and labor market. It connects them both. Thus, it provides practical competence upon graduation. Of course, students with the practical knowledge will be more graduates, will be more competitive in the labor market, will be recognized. And to be honest, in majority of cases, when there is internship or practice during the study times, where students are doing internship or practice at a company, most of the times, not the lion's share, but still majority, they turn into permanent working contracts after the internship ends. So they are during the study times, it is one of the selling points that students will basically be ensured of job. The gap between what labor market demands and what we can provide, such a dual program clearly decreases this gap. It corresponds to the needs of the labor market because the labor market is itself in a study process. And what's also good, and this compensates a little, one disadvantage is the length of the program. Yeah, it's usually bachelor 3 years, this is 4 years, but the compensation is this new security for work and professional qualification. So you get, the graduates not only get academic degree of social sciences bachelor degree in management or business administration, but it also, you actually get an additional, this hardcover paper, additional to the diploma that says you are granted, awarded a professional qualification of, in our case, I think it's management of organization, company manager. And of course, the topicality. And here, paradoxes happen every day, I guess. And here was something also, to be honest, COVID actually increased, the pandemic times increased this. Human resources, HR and business administration, it is increasing topic, as we saw in Latvian Chamber of Commerce video, that you need to tell your people that business is changing a little. Is it more efficient? I don't know, incorporates lean, it goes online to some extent. Yeah, there are other things. Of course, that requires human resources to go along. So the topicality is strong, which is good for the providers who can offer such program and thus meeting the needs of the new students, clients, who want it. And apart from others, other innovative aspect that is selling a lot, that actual working actually counts academically. You don't have to do work in addition to studies, you work because you study, because it's the same process. And I invite all the partners to actually look into the handbook, although it may seem big. It's a lot of pages written, but it also has a lot of figures and charts and tables, and it will give you a quick sense of the benefits of the program. Yeah, so the main challenge, and again, united in diversity for from country to country, is this proportion 50-50. Of course, we would also like to tell students that it's 50-50, but as Denise showed, it's not entirely 50-50 now, but I think we can strive for it.
Yeah, maybe I can add a
sure.
couple of words here. Yeah, and I would like to say I have seen that among participants is Joachim Jedrowski, who can help us also to share the experience of their universities and how we try to reach this bigger balance between studies and at the university and training in the company, not only in the paper but also in the practice. So we converted a couple of the practical activities at the university into educational practice, like this research and development projects and development of the business plans and pitching of these business ideas. And we also tried to integrate in most of the study courses some practical elements, as already Romans mentioned. There was a study visits and so on. Unfortunately, due to the pandemics, it all had to be converted in online mode. But the idea itself stays that more practical activities are through entirely programs concept. Also, we couldn't reach this perfect proportion of 50 and 50 time at the uni and studies.
Yeah, I think this is it for our introduction to the concept of the dual study program. And I think we will coin the term dual in Latvia, because the very term is not yet here, as Denise mentioned. It's work-based, but I think dual very clearly reflects what is it. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Denise and Roman. I'm very happy to, or we were quite happy to realize that after we started the project, that this new law came into effect in 2018, also allowing for this in Latvia. So now we have some time for questions and or comments on the Padlet. There are some already, and maybe we go through the questions just before the coffee break. If Christian can show the Padlet. Yes, there we go. Okay, so great video clip. This is to the Latvian Chamber of Commerce, and then there's a question: will the Latvian Chamber continue to promote these topics in the future, and how so? Question to Juris.
Yes, thank you for the question. I think the best way to answer it is that we will make a survey within our members and entrepreneurs of Latvia, and based on that we can decide whether we will continue to promote such topics, whether they are interesting, and based only on that I see no other options how we can promote it otherwise.
Okay, then there's a question of what was the main difference between the real trainings and now the second part of trainings that took place only online for the SMEs? Was there a difference or no difference? Or
I cannot surely tell 100% whether there is a difference or not, but for example, if company visits were face-to-face during the first course, then now face-to-face visits are also organized like online, and company representatives only sharing insights in their HR processes. So that is the biggest difference that we are having right now, and and afterwards the evaluation is done. Maybe some of the things come up, and afterwards we can tell from that.
I can imagine that it's quite challenging to do online trainings using the KAI method, because the second part is the training on the spot that cannot take place in real life, and then also the last part where the people come back together, the trainees and the SMEs, to discuss their learnings. I think it's easier to do this in real life than in an online meeting, because people are a little bit shy to speak up and discuss together. So this is probably a challenge.
Yeah, that was also one more thing that we can mention from the online part is that there are technical issues which can occur, and Roman, which is one of the lecturers, and also in these trainings, he can also say that there were technical issues in the first training. So
okay, and then from somebody's point of view, in the training in Latvia that was presented, the link with the learning on the job and the implementation of development projects in SMEs is excellent. Did it work? Have projects been realized after the training took place?
Yes, like I mentioned, these 5 trainings were implemented after the trainings took place. And so as you can see, that if 5 from 12 participants can implement them, and the remaining cannot implement them because how to say, because they faced the difficulties due to COVID and they had other priorities. We think that pretty much works. Yes.
Yes, and I think it was also mentioned in this video clip that, like you said, 5 out of 12 or 42% did realize the projects later on.
Yes.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yeah.
Then we have a comment to the demographic issue that Denise mentioned in the beginning of her presentation. Perhaps the need is to think like they do in agriculture. A young farmer is now a person below 55 to 60 years. In other words, to adjust our thinking to fit what demographic setting we actually face. So to reframe our understanding of demographic, yes. And then there's a question to Denise. I understood that the dual bachelor's program in Latvia was breaking new ground. Were there any particular problems with it? What do the universities say about it? How does the ministry react to it?
I think if I can answer it, it still is breaking the grounds, yeah, because this dual is still not recognized. And as for ministry, well, large objects move slow. That's also needed. Yeah, it's not only bad thing about it; it also ensures the fundamentality of things. But I think it is very much heard, and this testing of courses with the very good examples ensures this being heard. And we hope, we can't guarantee, but we hope that there will be further changes in regulation, possibly not very quick, but further changes in regulation. And if you remember this slide where there are distribution of ECTS points that need to be acquired at the university desk, at the actual facility of the university, might be decreased. There are also the ways around it already a little, yeah, that, for instance, one of the new aspects that a student's previous engagement in professional or NGO environment can be recognized for separate, for instance, it's a course on, I don't know, human resource management course, and a student is HR director, him or herself. So we could transfer his or her professional or civil NGO experience to the academic setting. But still, for now, we need to acquire those rather many ECTS as contact hours at the university. Yes. And also there's one question from Anna in the chat, were there any difficulties to convince entrepreneurs to dual program? This is what I meant when I said I was somewhat surprised that in that sense we didn't. Some companies were, most of them were eager to participate, some to larger extent, some to lesser extent. Yes, some companies were, yes, we want to participate. They came with initiative, the ideas, they all got it and participated. And some understood that we are doing a good thing. They don't have much time or effort or interest to dive in deeply, but they noticed that we like it, we know what we do, that it's good overall, so okay, we'll help you, just tell us what to do. And so we told them, okay, define some topics that you would like students to do research on, let us know if you're ready to take interns, let us know if you're ready to come to guest lecture on a very specific topic that we would tell you to organize. Anna, I hope this answers your question.
If I may, I also would like to ask to add a little bit to the previous comment regarding what says the ministry regarding the dual studies. Yeah, as I mentioned during the presentation, there is now more like attention given to the vocational education because of there is a lack of the certain professions in the middle class level, and that's why the vocational schools are cooperating with the concrete Latvian companies which are looking for those workers, and with this, it's the dual model even is not integrated in the study process, but it comes more like a pilot project at the studies. So within this dual model, they are trading workers for the company, and like there's a challenge now to keep this dual learning in the vocational schools, because the activity is mostly financed from EU funds, and the funds they are finishing, and this is the question how to prolong this sustainability. That's why there is now focus more on the vocational trainings, vocational education, rather than to the higher education.
Okay, yes, thank you very much. And then we also have a comment from somebody that was part in a dual bachelor project on social farming called SOFA Edu, that created a similar suggested curriculum for social farming in Europe. And they also had problems with the balance between academic and practical experience, and ended up with more practical experience in the mix because the social work and agriculture disciplines were already more comfortable with practice education, of course. Yeah. The key was building a strong network of social farmers who could participate in accredited modules. So there's the possibility of even more practical education within the bachelor program. Yes, of course, and finally, this is very important. Yeah. Okay. Yes, I will take a look at this project. It sounds very interesting. Are there any more comments or questions to?
I see Joachim raising hand.
Okay, please.
Yeah, thank you. Just want to congratulate partners in Latvia, Denise and Roman, for this excellent development work in your program. And from my point of view, it is a very, very good example for an adaptation of a dual study course according to the local needs and legal regulation. I think that is very impressive how you did it, and just not to try to make it the same way, for example, as we do it in Germany or in another country, but to adopt it in a way it's possible in Latvia. I think that this is a very, very good example and a very good way that you do it, or how you do it.
Thank you very much, and thank you very much to you too for your consultations and the support in this challenging and long-term task.
Yeah, you're welcome.
It took us more than it took us more time than expected to develop the program.
Yeah, I can imagine that.
It's never easy to change the educational system, especially in the dual education. Okay, thank you very much, Paldies, to Denise, Romans, and Juris. We will now take a break to get some coffee, and after the break, I'm very happy to get a more practical experience also, first from the Satakunta University of Applied Science, and then we have two companies sharing their experiences from Latvia and from Finland. So let's take a break until 11:30. So for 15 minutes, get some coffee, refresh ourselves, and then we'll continue for the last part. Thank you very much. Let's start with the second part of our conference today. We will kick off with some insights from Sirpa Sanderlin on the workplace innovations and research and development tasks. So Dr. Sirpa Sanderlin from the Satakunta University of Applied Science will kick off. Sirpa, can you already share your screen?
Yes, I'm trying.
Okay, perfect, it works.
Let me see.
Yes, perfect.
Okay. So good afternoon or good midday, everyone. So my topic is research and development task on workplace innovations. And this presentation is written by Dr. Kari Lilja and me. And we come from Satakunta University of Applied Sciences, Pori, Finland. So the presentation has two parts. First part deals with the general R&D policy environment and the financial sources environment in Finland. And then we have, in the second part, a couple of examples what our university does in this field. So first of all, R&D and innovation work is needed into companies just because they have to ensure the growth of the employment and sustainable development. You all know that the companies are living in a very difficult situation today. We have corona, we have climate change, greenhouse gas effects, digitalization, globalization issues. So the challenges are huge, and the companies should have some kind of means to respond to these challenges, just to survive and transform their processes, for example, to be competitive in the field. So it is also important that companies' business culture has part which deals with research, development, and innovation issues, just to be sure that all actors, so stakeholders, suppliers, company employees know what this R&D and means in the company. So in Finland, the support and policy framework is quite complicated. So there are very many layers in this system, and I will explain some of them here. So I skip this European level programs because most of you already know them, and some companies already are active also in the European level financial sources and the programs. But starting with the country-specific policies. So our policies are multi-level, and it includes startups, research and development projects, innovations, investments, exports, employment. You just name how many policies we have, and the basic means are loans, guarantees, and other support means. And in this country-specific policy level, we have 3 main actors. So Business Finland, which is a Finnish government organization, so giving innovation funds, serves trade, travel, and other investment promotion activities. And that has 40 offices globally, 16 regional offices in Finland. Then we have one financial organization or company which is owned by the state, so Finvera. It has 5 regional offices. And then we have the employment and economic development offices in Finland, once again a state authority level of actor, 15 regional offices. So that is the top level in Finland. Then we go to regional levels. We have those TE offices. Now we have 15 them in Finland, and they serve companies, for example, in the way that they support different kind of recruitment actions. They can organize training and education together with other actors. They pay subsidies, and they, of course, give services to unemployed people. They also serve the companies who are looking for new employees. And then the regional state administrative agency, we have 6 of them in Finland. They also have activities that dealing with development, training, finance, and most of all, they are the licensing organization. They provide different kinds of advice, information, for example. And they enforce a wide range of responsibilities, like nowadays with the COVID situation. They are one of the actors in that field, saying what you can do and what you can't do. In the local level, we are coming more to the municipal level. We have those municipal trade ombudsmen and companies, and both of them, they offer different kind of contacts, facilities, of course, if companies need premises in cities, they can contact, for example, the municipal actors. So they might find facilities through this mechanism. And of course, training is one way. And some municipalities also have a special type of financial supports, mainly loans and guarantees. And then we have in this local level or independent private sector level, numerous actors. For example, the first one, the Finnish Innovation Fund, Sitra, it's the kind of organization concentrating mainly on circular economy nowadays, that kind of issues. Then we have research centers, academies, foundations. Of course, school and universities are also very important actors in this field. Chamber of Commerce, of course, banks, other financial institutes, also business angels, so the private actors are there. But of course, the enterprise organizations also are actively involved in the business. So if we combine all of these, I'm not going to go through this table, but you can see that what kind of jungle we have when it comes to the funding and sources where you can apply money for your research and development innovation work. So this is a huge area, and there are services for those ones who start a business or are new entrepreneurs. Then there are small and medium-sized businesses. Then purely finance for scientific research, and those non-financial supporting activities and other forms of sourcing. So it's a question how these small and medium-sized enterprises, how they can find the finance from this kind of package of different kind of possibilities. I just take one example from this table. So it's so-called innovation voucher, worth maximum 5,000 euros. And companies can apply that kind of money from the Business Finland in case they have a product, for example, which they want to develop, or they have some other ideas to get more food in the international business. And they can use this voucher on the purposes which support their actions. So for example, they can use it to buy some expert assistance from educators or other companies, or wherever they can get the money. So there are plenty of possibilities. And now I'm coming to just this picture still. So how much money is in this whole framework? So it's close to 7 billion euros a year. That is our estimate for last year. And you can see from this picture, from 2013 to 21, that the share of government, the yellow line there, and the higher education sector, the pink column, they are almost the same in every year. But if you check the business enterprises role, that has increased from 2017 onwards. So that is the only finance which is increasing during these years. So almost 6% increase last year. So the meaning or the effect of the enterprises, private enterprises, small and medium-sized enterprises, is huge in this whole research, development, and innovation field. And now I'm coming to the second part, how we then work together with the companies who have basically quite many sources for finance and options together, for example, how to work together with us. So we have two frameworks, so the Robotics Academy and RoboAI platform. And they have been there a couple of years already, and the companies are very keen on this kind of forms. So starting from the academy, so this is now the 5th year when they are working, and the whole education area is done so that the practical business projects comes to this academy from companies. So this academy develops concrete solutions for whatever the challenge the company might have. And in Robotics Academy, as the name says, there is robotics, automation, information and communication technology, the main fields. But it doesn't mean that the students are only from those fields. Of course, we need also business people. Sometimes we need also social and healthcare people. So different kind of students are integrated in the academic projects. And the students who are coming to this kind of settings, they have to be curious, creative, they have to be active, and they have to be able to work in teams, because it's always a team which is trying to find a solution for the company's case. And most of all, I would say that students, they have to take responsibility of their own learning. So almost all of the learning is integrated into these company cases. So there are teachers who guide, there are company representatives who guide, there are the students who together create the solutions. Then we have RoboAI platform. Same thing, automation, robotics, artificial intelligence, and welfare technology. Once again, multidisciplinary platform. And it is also a global one, and not only this education, but also research and all kinds of development things are done here. So what they offer technology-dependent product development services, and also, in this case, startup services for students and novice entrepreneurs. So this is more on that side, so new ideas and new type of companies. And of course, training, further training, qualification, upgradings, and retraining activities. And what is especially interesting in this RoboAI platform is that we have children, so meaning the age of 10-15, I would say. Those groups of students of that age, they come to our laboratory to learn, for example, programming, or mainly done with Legos and that kind of things. But that is one of the groups we are keen on, because if you start early enough this training for the kids, then they might end up applying to our university. And also the other target group is adolescent people. And some of our cases, we have plenty of them in our report. So I just took a couple of here. And first of all, there are very many cases dealing with process automation cases, and very many cases with robots. And the fields, some of them are food industries, of course, industrial companies, there are hospitals, there are business units, hardware shops, all kinds of things. But just to show you what type of projects our students and staff and the companies do together. I'm not going to go through them in depth, but first case was with the bakery called Become Parhaat, and this one was done together with the Seinäjoki University Applied Sciences. So in these projects, we also use some other actors, not only our own students, but we can combine forces with other educators also. This case was, of course, food industry, and they wanted to know how to make some kind of automated line in the bakery. And the students, they created basically 3 different kind of solutions for the company, and the most cost-effective was the one that some of the processes are done or or are automated, and some are done still with manually. So this company would have to invest some 70,000 euros to kind of system, but that would be very, very good in their purposes. And then another case from food and beverage service. So once again, a company, Hanse-Parlament. And in this case, the idea was that there is a cafe, and the coffee and waffles should be somehow automated, because the processes are quite easy and similar, repetitive work can be done. So there was a collaborative robot which was then programmed to do the actual work in the cafeteria, and that is also implemented in the real case. So all of them, they have some automated things and some programming things involved in the cases. Then one robot case, mobile robot case from hardware store. So in this case, the commission came from cooperative Satakunta, and the case target is hardware shop. So they had a renovation project in the hardware, and you know, when something is renovated in a company or in a shop, the sell items, they change places, and then customers don't know where to go, where to find that hammer or some other paint or something like that. So this mobile robot was programmed to go around in the shop, and the idea is that the robot guides the customers. If customer wants to have some kind of item, then it is selected from the robot, and the robot will guide where to go. So quite practical thing, especially with the very big hardware shops. And then the last one, this is from the healthcare sector, and the customer is the Mevet home in Ulvila. So it's kind of model environment for well-being enhancing technology. So different kind of enhancing technology can be tested in this home. And the collaboration was done together with Sata-Edu, that is a vocational institute here. So our partners can be companies, they can be cooperatives, educators, organizations, anything. And in this case, the students, they installed the Beckhoff home automation system into the home, and that, for example, steers the lighting automatically, so you don't have to switch on the lights and switch off them. So it is automated, and of course that is energy efficient way and sustainable way to do it in that way. In this home, we have also some other kind of solutions, so it's an ongoing project all the time. So different kind of new technology can be tested in this platform. And if you want to know more, we have plenty of other cases, but at the moment the cases are dealing mainly with automation robotics cases, and also some data management cases. Plenty of those ones are on the line, and the situation in our university at the moment is that we can't take any more orders for this year, so we are fully booked with all business cases. So we have to find some other ways to increase this type of activities, but at the moment everything is running very smoothly, and our students and staff members have a job enough to do. But if you want to know more, you can go to our websites or contact us. So that is shortly what we have been doing, and let's see how this will continue. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Sirpa, and also Kari for working on this presentation and this project, of course. It's very impressive to see how close your alliance with SMEs is and how good the cooperation with companies is actually in Santa Quinta, and that you're doing these tangible projects. We would like to switch now to the companies if there are no direct questions to Sirpa, but please also use the Padlet for the final discussion that Christian posted in the chat. And then we will move over to back to Latvia, to the company Vidas Designs, an environmentally sustainable design company. And I'm happy that Janis Balodis will give us some insights. If I'm not mistaken, Janis will talk in German instead of English. Is that right?
Yes, okay.
Ja. Okay, that's an exception, and we'll sum it up. Gibt es eine Präsentation, die Sie haben, oder brauchen Sie keine? Okay, so Janis, bitteschön. Okay. Is Janis co-host?
Yes, he is co-host.
Okay. Okay. So, Sie können starten, Janis. Aber das Mikrofon ist noch zu.
Pasaka problēmas.
Ein bisschen Problem.
Kein Problem. Wir haben Zeit.
Uzliku to prezentāciju.
Okay.
Pagaidi, es uzlikšu uz tā. Pagaidi.
Ja. Jetzt in einer Minute wir wechseln Computer.
Okay, kein Problem.
Das Computer erlaubt leider nicht Präsentation zeigen.
Ah, okay. Aber schönes Wetter in Lettland.
Ja, ein bisschen sonnig.
So at least we can see some sun in Latvia. Okay.
Ja,
we'll just take
jetzt minus 7 Grad Celsius in Riga. No,
freezing cold, but beautiful.
Ja.
No. Jā, un zāle Zēvola pasaka, vai viņi redz to.
Ja, nu atšķirībā viņš te.
Ja. Okay, wir sehen die Präsentation.
Ja. No. Ja.
Pasaka, vai viņi redz. Tā, izies tā ārā.
Un kāpēc viņš nāk tā, nu? Hallo? Sehen Sie? Ordnung?
Ja, wir sehen den Bildschirm, aber die Präsentation müssen Sie noch starten. Only start the presentation.
Ja.
In full screen.
Ja.
Full screen.
Perfekt.
Ja, ja. Dann wir können beginnen.
Ja, bitte.
Ich vertrete die Firma Vidas Designs und ich erzähle unsere Innovationen in der Firma in diesen Pandemiezeiten. Am März Jahr 2020 Weltgesundheitsorganisation hat weltweit die Pandemie erklären und wir müssten damals etwas völlig Neues und nie gewesen für uns und viele andere Arbeitsbedingungen wechseln. Unternehmensgewohnheiten, der gewöhnliche Arbeitsumfeld und vieles andere war gebrochen. Dann auch Mitarbeiter mussten neue Fähigkeiten sich aneignen und sich umschulen. Angesichts dieser Situation war KVR ein richtiger Projekt in richtiger Zeit. Es regte uns an, über Veränderungen und Innovationen im Personalmanagement nachzudenken, bot uns unterschiedliche großartige Erfahrungen, aus denen wir viel Wertvolles lernen konnten. Schon von der Ausbruch Corona-Pandemie haben wir die von KVR-Projekte empfohlene Coworking-Büros genutzt. Es war für uns vorteilhaft und das nicht nur wegen der günstigen Raummiete. Wir mussten auch keinen neuen Computer oder andere Geräte kaufen. Das alles für die Arbeit notwendige und Coworking-Büros vorhanden war. Wir haben mit den Mitarbeitern erlaubt, 4-mal pro Woche von zu Hause aus oder in den Coworking-Standorten zu arbeiten. Einen Tag pro Woche kamen wir alle zusammen im Büro. Die Mitarbeiter hatten die Gelegenheit, zu Hause oder in den naheliegenden Coworking-Standorten zu arbeiten, wodurch sie das Geld für Transport sparen konnten. Die Pandemie hat uns gezwungen, weitere neue Innovationen zu implementieren. Wir mussten zur Fernarbeit wechseln und daher für ein neues, kleineres Büro uns entscheiden, das sich leicht an unterschiedliche Bedürfnisse anpassen lassen würde und sowohl für die Einteilung in kleine individuelle Arbeitsplätze als auch für die Nutzung als ein großer Besprechungsraum geeignet wäre. Derzeit haben wir ein Hybridbüro. Hier werden Besprechungen, Arbeit von Ort und Fernarbeit organisiert. Diesem Raum kann man gut für unterschiedliche Bedürfnisse anpassen. Unsere Mitarbeiter konnten nun frei ihren Arbeitsplatz wählen. Nach dem KVR-Muster hat Vides Designs eine neue Non-Monetary, das bedeutet nicht finanzielle, innovationsflexible Arbeitszeit implementiert. Nun können die Mitarbeiter ihre Arbeitstage und Stunden nicht nur Arbeitsprozesse, sondern vor allem ergebnisorganisierten planen. Hiermit, um einen permanenten Arbeitsprozess zu sichern, werden wir auch Verantwortung und die Notwendigkeit zur Selbstkontrolle delegiert. Wir bieten auch Ihnen einen flexiblen Urlaub an. Das heißt, die Mitarbeiter können zu unterschiedlichen Zeiten den Urlaub nehmen, ohne die angegebene Anzahl von Tagen zu unterschreiten. Man muss zugeben, dass das Hybridmodell für Unternehmer und Arbeitgeber kosteneffizienter ist, aber auch seitens der Mitarbeiter wird es immer mehr als sinnvoll und vorteilhaft gesehen. Auch wir beginnen uns davon zu überzeugen. Weitere für uns genutzte nicht finanzielle Innovationen hängen damit zusammen, dass wir uns an dem Jubiläum unserer Mitarbeiter erinnern. Wenn eine Begrüßung im Büro nicht möglich ist, nutzen wir Kurierdienste und begrüßen die Jubiläre während des Online-Plattform-Meetings. Zu Beginn des Projekts haben wir die KVR-Erfahrung, einmal wöchentlich einen Brown Bag Lounge zu veranstalten, übernommen. Dies versuchen wir auch während der Pandemie fortzusetzen, ausgenommen der Lockdown-Situationen. Es ist bei der Fernarbeitssituation besonders wichtig und vermittelt das Teamgefühl. Das sind unsere Teamtage. Wenn alle, die können, im Büro sind und einander treffen, dann haben wir gemeinsame Versammlungszeiten. Auf solche Art und Weise versuchen wir bei der Lösung strategischer Fragen und Entscheidungen alle Mitarbeiter miteinander zu beziehen. Wir bitten zum Beispiel die Mitarbeiter um Anregungen und Vorschläge zur Gestaltung des Arbeitsprozesses, um die Motivation während der Pandemie nicht zu verlieren. Zum Beispiel Online-Seminare und Vorträge zu Themen, die für uns besonders relevant sind. Energieeffiziente Lösungen mit Solarmodulen oder Golfplatzentwicklung. Der Golfplatz befindet sich in Nähe der Stadt Riga. Es wurde in des Designs weiterhin ein neues Bürokonzept und ein neuer Arbeitsstil eingeführt, sowie die interne Kommunikation angepasst, um alle Mitarbeiter zu erreichen. Eine neue Denkweise wird eingeführt und die Werte verbunden mit der zukünftigen Entwicklung werden neu ausgewertet. Neues Wissen und Fähigkeiten werden angeeignet. Wir müssen damit rechnen, dass Privatleben wichtiger als geworden ist und gegenwärtig ist es sehr schwer von der Arbeit zu trennen, weil die Arbeit zu Hause stattfindet. Wir vermissen das Büro-Alltagsleben, mal auch mit Witz und Scherz, das gemeinsame Kaffeetrinken, Face-to-Face-Meetings und Partys. Hoffentlich können wir noch auch zu früheren Traditionen zurückkehren. Für die Mitarbeiter ist es sehr wichtig, einander kennenzulernen und miteinander zu reden, dass der Kollege nicht nur einfach ein Deutscher ist, sondern eine konkrete Person, mit der man gut kooperieren und in einem Team zusammenarbeiten kann. Heutzutage muss man ständig nach neuen Lösungen und Möglichkeiten suchen. Es kommen immer neue Herausforderungen hinzu, wiederum neue Veränderungen mit sich bringen. Wir wünschen allen, mit den Herausforderungen zurechtzukommen und die neuen Chancen erfolgreich zu nutzen. Vielen Dank. Das war eine Rede in Deutsch. Ja. Ich verstehe, ich muss ein bisschen Praktik brauchen, aber ich verstehe Deutsch fast 90% oder mehr.
Vielen Dank, Palladius. Vielen Dank. Das war sehr interessant, Yanis. And we were able to read it in English, so it was no problem that you talked in German. And your German is excellent. So I understand that you chose German. Quite interesting. And I also see that it's difficult to do networking and chit-chat on online conferences, and that employees missing come to the company to just share small talk also. It's quite important. Okay, great. Please put your questions also on this last palette that Christian posted on the chat, and then we'll continue to the last presentation for today from Petri Keski-Korpela from the Tasovil Group in Finland. A very interesting company that has been active since 1979, family-owned and very innovative. And I believe that you will have the floor. Petri.
Yeah, hello, I'm here.
Hi, Petri.
I tried to share my screen, but I think
you're not allowed.
I think the previous presentation is still on. So
okay.
Okay, wait a minute. Yeah, I think I found it now.
Now it should work.
Yeah, and screen 2, I suppose. Wait a minute. No, it's not my presentation.
No, it's still Zara's presentation.
Yeah.
Zara,
now it's mine. Can you see it now?
No, not yet.
Okay.
But now Zara closed. Maybe if you try to share your
Okay.
screen again.
I tried again.
I tried to exit, but that's not. I don't have a control for presentations. I cannot stop it.
But now your presentation is not visible anymore, Sana. Should be okay. Yes, here we go.
Okay.
We see your screen, but it's the wrong screen, I'm afraid.
Yeah. Wait a minute.
Desktop.
Wait a minute. I try to.
This is my screen still. I don't know.
Can you now see my presentation first page?
Yes, now it's perfect.
Okay. Okay. Hello. My name is Petri Keskikorpala. I work development manager in Tasovil Group in Finland, and also I am a project manager in our Car4HR project. First, I would like to show you, let's see how it works, but our result video, it takes about 6 minutes. And after that, I can show you what else we have done during last year. First of all, I would say that we joined to this project little over 1 year ago. So when the project has gone a little bit more than a half, but still I have a feeling that we managed to catch the speed quite well and managed to do quite good job during last year. But then I try to start my video. Let's see how it works. Okay. Can you see it? No, I suppose
no,
not.
Not yet.
Okay, it start. Wait a minute. I think I should stop my presentation first. And now we try again. No, wrong window. Wait a minute. I have too much screen on my desk. Now I suppose you can see the video.
Yes.
And now I put it running. I hope you can hear the sound as well.
Okay.
It works?
No, not yet. You have to click on sharing the audio of the in this window screen sharing. You can click on a little box that says share the audio of the computer.
Okay, wait a minute.
Maybe if we
your screen sharing. Share the audio. New share.
Okay. Yes, if you new share and then in the bottom left corner, there's a selection window where you can share. Click on share sound, and then it should work.
No, it's not there. Share, new share, multiple. One, I can put it there.
Are you looking for the voice?
Yeah.
Yes, for the sound.
Okay, I will say in Finnish. Eli kun sä aloitat sen jakaminen, niin silloin siinä, niin kun siinä jakamispainikkeen yhteydessä on sellainen, että käytä videon ääntä, niin periaatteessa sun pitää lopettaa sen jaon nyt. Ja sitten painaa jakoa uudestaan ja huomaa sitten siinä, kun sä painat sitä vihreä painiketta share, niin siinä pitäisi olla sellainen, että käytä tietokoneen tai käytä videon ääntä.
Sound, your share sound. Okei.
No niin, hyvä.
Yes, kokeillaan uudestaan. Se on toi.
Thank you.
Cylindrical gears.
Okay, now it works.
Perfect.
Okay.
Today, we are more than a subcontracting company. We have over 120 highly skilled and motivated employees, making it possible to operate globally. We have 3 manufacturing units: Tasovil Gears, Tasovil Systems, and Tasovil Tikka. Our turnover is 24 million euros. In Car4 HR project, Tasovil had 2 goals: to support major organizational change and to support digitalization. We made a major organizational change by combining the management of 3 manufacturing units under the group management as one Tasovil. Our aim was to remove complexity, improve efficiency, and to create an organization that could lead our company to remarkable growth. One change was to reorganize procurement to cover all manufacturing units. We created a procurement category model. It's not ready yet, but at the moment it looks like we are going to have 7 categories. Each category has a category plan that is annually reviewed. The organization change was made to support future growth. Another important element are new recruitments. So we created a film to show what it's like to work at Tasovil.
Tasovil on suomalainen perheyritys, joka kehittää ja valmistaa voiman ja liikkeensiirron tuotteita ja komponentteja eri teollisuuden aloille. Meillä on tehtaat Tampereella ja Tikkakoskella. Reilussa 40 vuodessa Tasovil on kasvanut konepajasta kansainväliseksi teknologiakonserniksi, joka palvelee tunnettuja teollisuusasiakkaita ympäri maailman. Me investoidaan jatkuvasti uusimpaan teknologiaan ja pidetään huoli siitä, että tuotteiden laatu on maailman kärkeä.
Meillä on alan parhaat tekijät, joten ei koneetkaan voi olla toiseksi parhaita. On siistiä, kun käytössä on uusin tekniikka ja huippuluokan välineet.
Kasvusta huolimatta meillä ihminen on aina keskiössä.
Näissä töissä pysyy kädet puhtaana, mutta päätä pitää käyttää.
Musta ammattitaito on osa hyvinvointia. On kiva tulla töihin, kun tietää osaavansa sen, mitä tekee.
Täällä on kiva olla töissä. Meistä pidetään oikeasti huolta.
Meillä on paljon erilaisia koulutuksia ja mahdollisuuksia kehittää itseään. Ja muutenkin sellainen positiivinen ote. Kaikki arvostaa toista osaamista.
Me saadaan tuoreita hedelmiä joka viikko. Meillä on kulttuurisetelit kaikille niille, jotka haluaa nauttia liikunnasta ja urheilusta. Sekä mikäli golfin peluusta tykkää, voi firman golfosakkeiden kautta käydä pelaamassa.
Se, että Tasovil on perheyritys, tuo meidän kaikkien tekemiseen tiettyä inhimillisyyttä ja välittämistä. Meillä on mutkaton ilmapiiri ja kaikki tsemppaa toisiaan. Menestys syntyy aina yhdessä.
Täällä on todella mukava olla töissä. Tiimihenki on todella hyvä. Kaikki auttaa toisiaan ja puhalletaan yhteen hiileen.
Ennen kaikkea täällä on hyvä porukka. Tänne on kiva tulla töihin joka maanantai ja aamuisin.
Meitä on tällä hetkellä noin 130 ja haku on päällä jatkuvasti.
Tuu meille töihin.
Very nice.
Our IT strategy covers the development plan for next 3 years. Each development project improves our processes to better meet customer needs. Our first office automation process was applied to order handling. automation was implemented with Power Automate software. The operating environment is Microsoft Teams. When processing an order, many people are involved. After a step is complete, the order will transfer to the next handler. Depending on the case, the order may go to the different handler. Tasoville's goal is to significantly increase turnover. In the Car for HR project, we supported this goal by helping to implement organizational change to One Tasoville and by increasing digitalization. We created the IT strategy. We will organize the procurement according to One Tasoville. We created the first office automation process, and we made a new video for marketing purposes.
Okay, that was the video. Let's see if I manage to continue my presentation. Now I suppose you can see the presentation.
Yes, we see it.
Okay. Okay. So in addition to results shown in the video, we also got benefits from Car for HR project in other ways, because it turned our attention to HR matters. During last few years, we haven't done so much HR development tasks or projects, but last year we did it quite many. So I think this is very successful year and very successful project for us. Hope you cannot see the black box in the screen. I hope you see only the presentation, I suppose.
Yes, only the presentation.
Okay, so it's only for my screen. Okay, one quite big coaching project we done last year was the coaching for our managers and supervisors. Unfortunately, the slide is in Finnish, but I translated the 6 main packages in English, and each packages had 2 to 3 coaching sessions. Each sessions takes 2 hours, and those sessions were mainly in theoretically, including small group rapid workshops, which takes only a few minutes. And in the beginning, I have to admit that those rapid group sessions was quite chaos, but during the year, I think we learned to work with those only a few minutes, and in the end of the year, it goes quite well. And also between those 2 hours, 2 theoretical hours, we have small group workshops where we can discuss what we have learned, and then also we can think where we can use it in daily business. So this whole coaching was quite good effects, plenty of hours, plenty of persons, but I think the results were quite nice. Then we did the personal survey for whole person, whole staff. We have done it earlier in 17 and year 18 and now last year. And here you can see the results. and the trend was quite nice, quite positive. And also here in gray pointer, you can see what is the general norm in Finland. So at the moment, it looks that we are doing quite nice HRR things in Tasoville. Wait a minute, one more thing. We got these results. We communicated to whole staff, and then after that we create a small group in every company, and those each group went through the result in more details and decided what to develop to increase these results even better in future. Then we also do 360 degrees review for managers and supervisors, and based on those results, every supervisors and managers create an individual development plan, how they can develop their supervisor skills. Then, because we have only 1 year time for doing those, we also have plans for this year. We decided to hire HR specialist to Tasoville Group, and then we also decided to purchase HR management software. We haven't defined the specs yet, but at least it shows that employment relationship management, it should be holiday management, time management, education plan management, etc. And I think that after that software, we should concentrate much better to HR issues. So in conclusions, we feel that without CAR4 HR project, we wouldn't focus so much in HR issues. So I think that is the very big influence for Tasoville. And also I would like to thank Sirpa, Kari and Johanna for supporting me and us. There had been several times then I have to ask them their help in this project. Perhaps because we jump in the middle of the project, so everything it's not so clear every time. But every time we get their help. Thank you for that. And Dr. Hogeforster, thank you for taking us to this project. It was very valuable for us. Okay, that's okay. Kiitos.
Thank you very much, Petri. Very interesting, and also nice to see how many projects you realized. And from our side, I think we are very happy that you joined this project. It's never easy to jump into a running project, but you were brave enough to take this step, and I think it's paid out. And we are quite happy that you did it. So thank you.
Okay.
For that.
Thank you.
Now we can switch again to the Padlet, and I saw that there are some questions that popped up, especially for the companies, but maybe the first question is targeted at Sirpa at the Satakunta University of Applied Science. During the presentation from Finland, I was very impressed by the close cooperation between the Finnish university and the companies there. Do the SMEs make intensive use of this? How is the involvement of students? Do they also make research and development in companies doing education? Maybe Sirpa, you want to or can answer this. Or Kari.
Yes, I can start. So this is very common in our case, and for example, we have around 500 very close connections to companies in our university. And in all of our curricula programs, students, they cooperate with the companies, for example, during the practical training period. So they work in the companies every summer. Then they also do their thesis work in or for the company. So that is the case with almost all of our students. And then they do project works, depends on the course where they do it. And of course, then they get the credit points. So it is very, very common in our case. And if we take one example more, it's from the construction engineering side. And because we don't have the dual program as it's meant to be like in Germany, our solution is with the construction site engineers that they do several months practical training in the companies, and at the same time they also study. So this is very common, and I would say that it is the practice in all of our universities of applied sciences, that the close connections to companies are there, and also with the universities. So that is very common, and as I mentioned in the presentation, so we can't take more companies into these academies or robo-AIs because we don't have enough staff, for example, to give the guidance, and students we have, that is for sure, but we can't accommodate all of our students there, but it's very common.
Yes, and I think it's part of the success model from Finland to include the students early on with the practical work and work in companies. Thank you very much, Sirpa. Then we have a comment that is very much liked. I want to work in Vidas Designs. What wonderful workplace innovations and mindset in the company. Also viele Bewerbungen für Vidas Designs. Great to see concrete examples from the SMEs. How do the companies rate the cooperation with the universities and with the chambers? So Petri, how did you like the cooperation in this project with the, I think you said also with the Baltic Institute of Finland, with Johanna and the universities, Sirpa and Kari?
Yeah, I think the cooperation was very good, and of course, because of this COVID situation, it might be even better if we can meet with face to face. But still, I think we can get the help every time when we need it.
Yeah. Und Jannis von Vidas Designs, wie war Ihre Erfahrung mit der Zusammenarbeit mit Universitäten und mit der Kammer in Lettland?
Ja, ich habe gemeinsam mit Handelskammer einen Trainingsprozess teilgenommen und gut zusammengearbeitet. Aber mit Universität haben wir zusammen ein neues Studieprogramm vorbereitet und eingeführt.
Okay, sehr gut. So also from Latvia, they have very good cooperation with the university where they did a new study program and also with the chamber. Then there's a comment. It is always difficult for SMEs to participate in the international projects. How do the companies see the relationship between effort and return? What was particularly good for them? What was bad? would they participate in projects like this again with the experience they gained today? So Petri and Yannis, also a question to you. Would you do it again, or do you think it's too much work to participate in a project?
For Tasoville, absolutely, we will participate again. This is very, very good. It pushes us a little bit, but still, I think the results are quite nice.
Okay. I'm happy to hear that, because the European Commission is always looking for a better contact in the projects with the SMEs, but most companies have problems because they are afraid of the reporting and the red tape and bureaucracy. But it's nice to hear that it was worthwhile your time and efforts.
Yeah, absolutely.
Nice. Okay. And then there's a similar question like this. I like to see the companies benefit of participating in the project, how they rate the work invested and reached goals. The same question. So maybe also to Yannis. Yannis, würden Sie noch mal im Projekt mitmachen? War es die Mühe wert?
Ja, genau. Schlechtes war das die Pandemie. Ja. Das war ein neues Herausforderung. Und dann mussten wir alle Pläne verändern, auch in Zukunft. Aber das war auch interessant, auch für neue Erkenntnisse mitzubringen mit Universität und auch mit diesem Handelskamera. Ja, ich hoffe, dass wir auch in Zukunft können im anderen Projekt auch teilnehmen, wenn das möglich wird.
Okay, so also from Yannis, it's a positive experience. He would do it again. The biggest change was not the reporting, but the Corona pandemic. And he was happy to join the project and would like to join another one in the future. That's nice to hear. And then there's a question, how can we focus on human resources in vocational institutes to prepare our students? That's very interesting. Is there somebody from a vocational institute that could give some insights or share how maybe the teachers in vocational schools can benefit?
Wann soll es da? Das ist normal.
No, nobody feels confident to comment on this yellow question. I think it's a very big point, because we ask the vocational institutes at the moment to rearrange their role and their understanding, especially if we work on work-based learning and dual education, and how to include also the people working in vocational institutes and to increase their potential and human resources to prepare the students. It's a very big and important point that we should take up in the future. Are there any other comments or questions? You can also raise your hand or use the microphone or chat. I think this project has been very important, and I'm sure it's just the beginning of a very essential development, because this potential that we see in human resources gets more and more important. And during this pandemic that started during the project, we learned a lot, and actually also a lot of surprising things, like Yannis said in his presentation, that of course it's nice to do some online working, but you miss out on the chit chat with the colleagues. The way you talk to your colleagues is very different if you do it online than if you do it offline in the company. So it's a matter of connecting both worlds. And I look very much forward to the future developments in this field of human resources and organizational development in SMEs. And we see it just as a start of our activities, because the center has now been established, and we look happily into the future. I would like to thank you all for your time, and especially to the speakers. Thank you very much. And then we will conclude this conference, and I look forward to our future work. Thank you all and have a nice day.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Goodbye.
Bye-bye.
Vielen,
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye bye. Thank you.
vielen Dank, alles Gute.
Wiedersehen.
Wiedersehen, auf Wiedersehen, tschüss.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
See you
Bye
again.
bye.
Meet you. Bye. Thanks.
Do widzenia.
Everyone.